right, friends, welcome to our meditation time. I invite you just to close your eyes and just really arrive mentally, emotionally, energetically into the space where you've chosen for yourself to be for these few minutes. You've already physically arrived, the body's already starting to settle, but just by closing the eyes and starting to notice the breath, you're giving the mind permission to settle. You're giving those emotions permission to just level out and be still for just a few moments. And when all the parts of you are invited to this stillness, it truly is the first step toward union and harmony. So as you notice the breath coming in, just slowly, slowly, and as you notice the breath going out, just give yourself permission to make adjustments. If something feels like it needs to move, and then find stillness again. If the thoughts come in and start to interrupt, then notice what they're showing you and come back to this present moment and find stillness again. It's always here, right here in this moment, one breath in, one breath out at a time. And on this journey through the Yoga Sutras, we are at one of my most favorite words in Sanskrit, Satya. It's one of those yamas, one of those vows that we make toward our interactions with the world. Satya. It means truth. And like most of these vows or most of these commitments that we make for how we want to move through the world, it's one of those that at surface level, we want to check it off and think, of course I tell the truth. Of course I don't lie. I teach my children that, my grandchildren. It's what I expect from my employees, my colleagues, my family. But this idea of Satya, like all of these other teachings that Patanjali gave us, it goes deeper than just not telling a lie. And so as we sit with this idea of what Satya really is in these few minutes that we have together, the first thing that I would ask all of us is the most core question when it comes to truth, when it comes to Satya. And that is, who am I? So just sit with that for the next few breaths. Just ask that of yourself, who am I? Not who have I been in the past, and not who am I of this roles and these titles that I serve, but truly, if you were to just peer into the center of your heart, who am I? And for some of us, we quickly can take our gaze inward and we can see the light, we can see the good, we can see the compassionate us. And then others, we feel like there's just so many layers to look through that it's hard to see the real us. And whichever description sounds more like you, you just keep being open to the idea of asking the question of who am I? Because sitting with that, especially here in meditation when we're still, when the distractions are less, the truth of us really does begin to make itself known. Not the perceived truth of us, where the mind takes us to all of the mistakes and all of the behaviors and all of the failures. But we go beyond just the thinking mind. We go to the soul. And that is where the light, the pure consciousness, the truth of who we are resides. But Satya, this idea of truth, it's also associated with action, and not just the action of telling the truth. But listen to what Patanjali says in this Yoga Sutra 236. When I am established in Satya, in truth, the fruit actually corresponds to the action. So listen to that again. When I am established in Satya, in truth, the fruit actually corresponds to the action. we are truly aligned. And I'm sure we could all come up with a list very quickly of the times when we acted and the outcome was not exactly what we had anticipated or hoped for. The outcome didn't seem to match. We did this and we got that, and they just don't seem aligned. And there could be a myriad of reasons, some in our control and some not. But what Patanjali is teaching us is that when you sit with yourself, when you ask the question of who am I, when you embrace who this person is, you begin to see the truth of yourself, the truth of compassion, the truth of grace, and of this pure, unbroken consciousness. And then when we act, the fruit or the outcome of those actions are aligned. Just imagine what that would feel like as you go through your life, to know that the action and the outcome of that action are aligned. And it's not this idea of cause and effect, because we could sit and we could think about people who've committed terrible things, and that's their action, and then the outcome is they have some terrible punishment, and so they match. That's not what this is talking about. This is talking about acting from the truth of who we are, how we were made, how we were created. The us that exists below the layers and layers of all the stories that we tell ourselves. When we know that truth, we believe that we are compassionate, light-filled, conscious individuals. Our actions match that truth, and the outcome matches that action. And we live an aligned and connected life. Just think for just a few seconds what that would feel like. Because I know we all feel the frustration when the outcome doesn't match the action. When we think, I'm doing good, I'm putting good into the world, why are bad things happening, right? And we want to bargain, and we want to wonder, and we want to complain. But if we will learn to sit with ourselves on a regular basis, as we do here, and as you do other times throughout your day and throughout your week, you will get to know your truth so well. You'll wade through all the layers of all the narratives, all the wrong information that you've convinced yourself is true about yourself, and eventually you will see the real you, the Satya of who you are, the heart of compassion, the spirit of grace, the breath of peace that is moving through you slowly and gently. And you'll begin to act from that place. And then the outcome of your actions will also be filled with compassion and grace and peace. And I know again that our thinking rational mind starts to just check in now about this point and say, yeah, but what about the other people? What about their involvement in this, their influence, their behaviors? And unfortunately, Patanjali doesn't have a comma or a part two to that sentence. All he says is, when we are established in Satya, we, each of us, the fruit corresponds to the action. And we live aligned lives. And so I'd like us just to sit with that for just the next couple of moments. Maybe some of you are still sitting with the idea of who am I? Maybe some of you are sitting with the idea of, I want to know. I keep asking the question and I can't quite see that goodness that she talks about. I can't quite see that compassionate heart. But I'm going to sit with it again and again and again until I do. And some of you have experiences where you know this is true. You just got distracted for a little while, but it's quite easy to come back because you've already lived it. And so again, whichever description fits you, sit with Satya. Sit with truth. And then I want to offer an affirmation that might help give you something concrete to focus on for the next few breaths. I'm going to ask the question of who I am. And then I'm going to give us an affirmation that will help to answer that question. And again, even if it doesn't quite resonate, if you can't quite see it, sometimes just saying it again and again will help it to become reality. So just continue to breathe in slow, deep, gentle breaths. Who am I? I am truth. 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 Just take a couple more breaths here on your own. Notice which parts of this resonate. Notice which parts still feel really far away. And each time that you sit with yourself in the coming days, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just pausing in the day, continue to nurture and foster this belief that we are truth. And then eventually, you'll begin to live from this place of truth. And then from there, like the verse says, our actions and the fruits of those actions, the outcomes, will be completely aligned. Hold on to that thought. Imagine that way of living. No more disconnection, no more things going in all the different directions, but living from a place of true alignment. Satya. Namaste.